Good afternoon. I'm Joe Vodvarka here with your weather update. This go around, we're talking about a possible nor'easter on the time frame somewhere between Saturday and next Wednesday. First of all, we're here at the National Hurricane Center website. We do have 70% chance of development here at the southern Gulf of Mexico around the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's go take a look at it. Here's the system right here. As you can see, it is not very well organized, but this is it right here. This would be the center of it right here. There is some new convection trying to flare up. It could be a depression within the next day or so, but it's not a big deal just yet, but it will have a role on the upcoming system. First of all, let's go take a look at the NAO. As I've been telling you in the last update, the NAO is set to go negative. Today's date is the 18th. Here's the 18th right now. And there's where we are right there. See? We're still at positive, but Saturday, tomorrow and the Saturday, it's going to go negative. Anytime you're going from a positive state to a negative state, especially a strong one, like we are going to have here, it could get down to -2 to perhaps maybe -2 to -3. Anytime we're getting down to those levels in reversal, it's usually a good indicator for a storm system coming. Plus, we will have a blocking high to the northeast, a blocking high to the west. Yeah, that's a good setup. So let's go right into the models here. First of all, we're going to look at the GFS model, and we'll look at the surface predictions first. Starting with today's weather, as you can see, we still got high pressure standing right over us, but now watch what happens with this high pressure. It slowly but surely starts to drift east. As you can see now, we're now in the Friday early morning hours, and there it is, it's shifting east. Here's the low pressure that develops over Canada, and here's the trailing cold front. As you can see, there's a good bit of moisture along this cold front coming. Now the moisture starts to weaken because loss of daytime heating out there. But now watch this down here. There is a vortex that forms over here. South of there, there's the depression in the Gulf of Mexico. Then advance this again. There's the depression again. Watch what happens with that depression. So I'm advancing it. That moisture starts to get collected into this vortex right here that splits off of the low from up here. And here's the high pressure coming behind it. Now let's pause for a minute and take a look at this. Here's the next high pressure coming behind it. Here's today's high pressure that we have centered over us. Look what happens. It gets bottled up to the northeast. It doesn't move much. And there's another high pressure coming in. Got the low here. Here's the cold front along it. Strong connection out of the Gulf of Mexico. But we have another character at play. This little fella right here. Yeah, that's Humberto. That is what's left of Humberto that started off of Africa well over a week ago. It dissipated, then it redeveloped. Well, it's going to dissipate again and should remain dissipated. However, there's other model guidance that says it won't remain dissipated, and if it does redevelop, like the other model guidance has, that will cause problems going forward towards our forecast here, which is something we have to keep an eye out on. So anyhow, getting back to the global forecasting model here, and we have strong moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Watch what happens with the vortex here at the surface presentation. It starts to organize. And the Gulf system, that starts to reorganize. So one of these lows are going to take over. Not quite sure which one is going to be yet. Most likely, I think it would be the Gulf low. Look how much moisture there is along here. And in the meantime, during that, we are getting overrunning precipitation from the south northeast. So there would be a southwest to northeast flow of precipitation starting to set up over us. Then we would have more overrunning setting up well ahead of this developing area of low pressure. So now we have a developing area of low pressure over Georgia. We also have an easterly flow setting up here, which is not a good thing. We don't want an easterly flow. Easterly flow means coastal flooding is possible, especially if this easterly flow starts to get stronger. This is just one run of the model. Previous runs of the model were more south with this storm and did not even bring it anywhere near us. This run of the model is bringing it more north, and it has been trending north. If it continues to trend north, we will have significant coastal problems. As you can see here, look what happens. Strong easterly flow with 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts continuously. On top of the 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gust, there would be some precipitation that would be being brought in from the Atlantic. Right now, it's not extremely impressive on this model, but it's enough to cause problems. Okay, right now we are out to Tuesday. This is Tuesday. And I'll get to more on timing later on. But right now we're out to Tuesday. As you can see, the low is starting to come up north a little bit. We have that other leftovers of Humberto still out there, which is in question. But anyhow, for early Tuesday, the low's coming north a little bit more. As you can see, more precipitation's trying to set up. And look, right along the coast and back towards 95, we do have persistent steady rain that just sets up, and it just sits there for most of the day on Tuesday. On Wednesday, look at this. We got the high to the north, the low to the east. We're still getting a persistent easterly flow at the shore, but it does start to improve now. It does start to back off a little bit, but still. I mean, look at this. The low doesn't get very far. It just sits out there, and that's a problem. I mean, hey, it could sit back a little bit more west, and then we're talking significant flooding because we don't have much in the way of dunes down there. Yep, because of Hurricane Sandy last year. Now Thursday and the Friday, that flow tries to come back a little bit, but that's farther out there. We'll worry about that down the line. In comparison to this storm, I believe it was Tropical Storm Ida back in September of 2009 that originated in the Gulf, and it came up and waffled Virginia. That would be the storm that you could compare this to. This go around could either be anywhere between Virginia and our area, but this definitely looks like it's going to be a storm system that's going to stall for several days, starting with the front rains Saturday into Sunday with some overrunning, and then Sunday night through Wednesday would be the main coastal event. Let's go take a look at the GEFS, which is the GFS ensembles now. As you can see here, it is made up of 12 different members. And in these 12 different members, you will get a variation of very much different results. Not every member is going to be the same. If every member was the same, it would be pointless to have ensembles. Of course, up to maybe about 24 to 36 hours, yeah, most of them will be the same. But once you get past 48, 60, and then 84 hours out, that's when you start seeing differences with each member. So right now we're looking at hour 90, and already you can clearly see there's a lot of differences here. This member right here, P006, look at this. It has nothing for us. This one down here has heavier rain along the front. That one has heavier rain along the front back to the west. And so does COO and this one. So there's a lot of differences here. Let's advance it a little bit. Only a few members here have a coastal storm coming up here. Not every member does. The most strongest one is this one right here, this guy. P003, which is much like what the 00 European model was showing last night. That's the most impressive member. Other ones, like Virginia, they favor Virginia, which is not out of the question. It could get shoved more south and stall more south. But either way, we are definitely in the cards for a major coastal storm here. Let's go to the Canadian model now. As you can see on the Canadian model, which has been the most erratical model this summer, it is again this run, but we'll look at it anyhow. As you see here, we have strong precipitation coming out of the Gulf. Here's the front here, back across the Ohio Valley. It comes east, it hits this block right here and just slows down. But what it does, which is different from other models, is it has a little system here in the Atlantic. It phases that in with the storm. So that makes the storm stronger. And there it is right now. You get a 1001 millibar low over North Carolina. The easterly flow starting to set up. And then it just stalls right off the coast of New Jersey. A continuous flow. And then it meanders a little bit to the coast of New England. But doesn't get very far. And look at this. It's still just sitting there. This is next Wednesday. Then after that, it finally tries to leave. before just sitting east of Maine. And look at this behind there. There's another system down in Texas. We'll get to that later. So let's go back to the GFS real quickly. Let's take a look at one more thing. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar vortex. And here's our 84. Here's the large polar vortex up here in Canada. Here's the energy that splits off from it. Let's advance. And you can see what happens. This energy just slows down. It continues to slow down. And eventually it does close off. As you see here, it's closed off. 576 millibar. And look, then it opens back up. And when it does that, that's when the storm system right now is starting to develop off the coast. I'll advance it some more. You can see there's the vortex right here. So it right off the Delmarva is the vortex, but yet it has low off North Carolina, which means the low could trend a little bit more north again. And there it is, it closes it again, and this is when the low is just directly east of us. So, I mean, this could trend stronger, it could also trend weaker. But right now, I would favor for this to trend stronger because we have a strong block. I mean, this has nowhere to go. Unless the European solution happens, which I'm going to show now. So let's rewind this here. Here's the European. Here comes the front. Right here is the front coming, just like the GFS. However, something different happens. Look down in the Gulf. Down here, we don't have a strong low starting to form like the GFS. And the cold front, look at this, it's moving a bit faster. It does start to slow down Sunday morning very early, but watch what happens. It starts to interact with this system right out here, which is the remains of Humberto. I do not agree with that. I think with the strong high being up here to the northeast and a strong high to the northwest, I think that's going to prevent there from being any interaction. Which means this cold front would slow down and it would allow plenty of time for development to occur in the northeast section of the Gulf of Mexico, allowing for the system to ride along it, come right up to about Virginia's and the Delmarva, then stall possibly through Tuesday while it would then slowly push off to the east. So, the main threats from this are strong heavy rainfall, possibly up to 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, widespread, 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gust continuously along this system, with the peak of this storm possibly being on Monday. I will continue to have more updates on this as we go further to the week, especially tomorrow, possibly on Friday, depending on what time I get back from jury duty on Friday. What fun that's going to be. A room with 400 people. So yeah, stay tuned. This has potential to be a significant storm down at the shore yet again. Like I haven't said that 10 times over the last 3 to 5 years. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.